Alright, this is... Yeah, I'm showing you my Meteorite Shard count there. I started this as trying to showcase how broken the Meteorite Shard thing was for this event, after they changed it down to 2 Meteorite Shards, but as you will see, it changed in the middle of my recording. So I was just planning for 30 minutes to just go into Celestial Explore and see how my Meteorite Shard count ended. This also showcases how to fight various opponents. Here's a Stellar Rin's Raw. These are fairly standard. You just basically do what you do with lions or hyenas, at least this is what I do with them. Drake is also fairly standard. Some of these might have tough skin. I don't recall which ones do. I usually just pound most things. Charge, rest, charge, grab, pound. Here is a boss. Bosses are very strong. So here we have me fighting the boss. And I actually won that one. Yay! Drakes are also fairly standard. I mean, this one's kicking my butt a bit. But, you know. It's these types of enemies. Dustlings! Dustlings can be roared at, and they have a much larger chance of running than most opponents. It doesn't happen every time, but as you can see, it happened. They're wyverns. They're also more... You claw them. You claw them and they go down. They're like dogs and humans. And there's a drake. I'm sorry my commentary isn't gonna be super interesting. I wasn't really planning on commentating. But I figure that, like, some of what I'm doing could use some explanation. Yeah, I couldn't decide what to do here. Eventually I did they go around? They both give items, they just give different items. Another drake of the starburst variety. I have not found that any of the prefixes, like starburst, to make any difference. It's always the second one, except for the radioactive snake, which is the first one that I fought. Radioactive snakes specifically, and no other snake, can deal like 50 damage if you don't have it grappled. But this is like, oh, okay, this is serpent. Serpents aren't snakes. It's, you know, there's a difference. And there's another wyvern. This one looks really cool. And, beasts. Beasts are not fun. Roar isn't super duper effective against them, but they can run, so it's kinda worth trying. Beasts can stun you. As you can see, I got stunned. You just basically want to try to stun them more than they stun you. And there's another gamma ray beast. Yeah, and if Like, with me, I tend to just, if they grab me, I just don't try to back out. Yeah, 3 in a row. But hey, it is possible to win. Pulsar Worm. Worms you do not want to um, rest against because they will charge if you rest. And they can possibly stun lock you if they charge you, if I remember right. There's another wyvern. Like, seriously, even if you're not very good at battling, just try fighting the wyverns at least, because they fall to claw very fast. And there's another boss. Bosses are dragon, Shrek. Yeah, okay, I don't remember. Starburst Drake. Also, by this point, they had actually fixed a bug that was happening earlier in the event this year. What was happening was that, like, if you lose against a boss, you would just keep finding bosses instead of regular enemies until you beat it, or you beat a boss. But they fixed that. Gamma Drake. There's a wyvern. Well, like, as you can see, like, look at my Meteor Shard count. I've already gone up, like, 40 something. Just from the beginning of this, and we're almost 8 minutes in. And this has been what happened to me. Like, I'd earned, like... Well, okay, I'd earned a chunk from Epidemic. But, yeah, here's me just setting up my hunting team. I try to do them evenly, and I have a little system where yeah. I have an order that I go in, that's why I was all slow there. This is a snake, but it is not a radioactive snake, so it's not as dangerous. And another gamma ray beast. That's just what the enemy that decided to like me. And it's like, okay, yeah, he grabbed me and I just didn't realize it at first. And another one. Gotta love these guys. No, you actually don't. Like, some people say stats matter. My king has a lot of stats, like 3,600? 3,600? Yeah, I don't think they matter that much. And this is a Windsor. Windsors are fairly standard, just charge, rest, charge, grab pound. There's a burstling. They are like dustlings. You roar at them and hope they run away. If I get hit twice, I just fight. If you get hit too many times, they'll be assured of their ability to win, and then they won't roar, or they won't run when you roar. So after I get hit twice, I just go in and hope that I can make up the lost thing. And then Starburst Being, it's like, beings are like beasts. They can run, but they are not particularly likely to. And they can stun lock you. And I lost. Another interstellar snake. And a dustling. This one's one of the new ones this year, but it is still a dustling. Drakeling also are fairly standard, like the Windsraws and the Drakes. And another Windsraw. And then my impression went to 100, so I went and improved my impression. And I clicked the wrong button. So I went to explore. As you can see, that is what the waterhole looks like if you've never been there. It's another Drakeling. And there's a radioactive snake. This might showcase, yet bites you for 51 damage. They can do a lot. And actually, yeah, what I did wasn't smart. Once you've been hit, just try to grab them, because you want them to have as little chance to bite you again as possible. Another Drakeling. And a Wyvern. I really like this guy. He just looks cool. And a boss. Pulsar Dragon. Lag. Starts to get fairly laggy after a bit. And I think that is when the developers were starting to adjust things. And a dustling. Just roar. Drakeling. Pretty standard. Dustling. Roar it. Because the flavor text, tail between its legs, it doesn't really have a tail. Stellar worm. Worms, I think I mentioned it earlier, that they can charge you if you rest, so don't rest. I think wyverns can too. But, like, even if they didn't, it's best to just grab and claw anyway, just because of how much damage claw does. It's a radioactive serpent, not to be confused with a radioactive snake. Radioactive serpents aren't anything special, they're just another serpent. I think their strangling ability does make you more likely to miss, but I'm not positive on that. There's a wyvern. And there's a regular worm. Are we getting... Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where pay attention to the meteor shards at this point. Because it says it'll take 2. And I think that one did take 2. So at 03, that's 01, it's still only taking 2. 99. It's a burstling. I think I noticed at this point that it seemed like I wasn't getting more. And I wondered if they had taken away the ability to get more while you're in the Celestial Explorer. They might have as a temporary measure. Or I might have just been unlucky. Like there, I was unlucky there. Okay, 498. I think it may have happened already, or it's about to happen. I remember something about a pulsar worm. Okay, so I'm at 98, and now I'm at 93. I didn't notice, but it's taking away 5, even though it said taking away, it'll take away 2. So they had just adjusted it right there. Didn't see it. It said 5 right there. And as usual, I'm just like, okay, which one am I doing? Drakeling. And there I noticed, I was like, my meteorite shards are awfully low. And then I pulled up the news to see if they had edited the original news post. And it was taking forever to load. So I just tabbed back and did another fight. So then I tabbed over here to check. Saw that that still said it should be 2, and then I accidentally clicked on that. And I scrolled down to the bottom to see if there was an edit, and there was not an edit. And I just decided, okay, I'm just going to keep going. You can see what the difference is in the experience and how fast my meteorite shards go down. I think we've long since seen all the enemy types, so this is a fairly decent showcase, I think. I don't know. And I honestly can't tell if they made them easier at this point. I didn't actually notice much of a difference. And then I realized I had gotten some energy, so I just went to use it in regular Explore. Another one of these. And a dustling. Really seems like you get a lot of one type in a row sometimes. And then there was a news post, so I went to check on that. Saw that, okay, they'd changed it to back up to 5 meteorite shards, which I'd noticed, and then they also had removed the large trait, as well as just a typo, and that last bit, which I had already noticed, had changed since yesterday. And then, of course, first thing, boss. Okay, that still has the large trait, they said so. So I didn't check to see if there was any difference. I also noticed that suddenly the site was a lot faster. Also, I just, ticked over and got 10 energy, so there's some energy. Oh no, my lion is evil. It killed a bird. Okay, so at this point, I tried to trample. Now, large enemies, they say they're too big to trample. That's what I was trying to figure out trying to see that. There, it just failed, which isn't the "it's too big to trample" failure message. Didn't seem to cause it to be all that much easier. But there, I was able to trample the Pulsar Wyvern, so that showed that indeed these are no longer large. They have miniaturized them. Yeah, trample does a lot, but aside from like really small enemies, it's inconsistent. Usually charge is better. So after testing, well, okay, well, here's a solar dustling, so I'm not gonna do anything but roar. But yeah, after that I just went back to charging because, yeah, it fails way too often. I also checked. I think large enemies are more, um, it's easier to kick them. Kick does a lot of the damage when it hits, but it doesn't hit as often if the enemy is not large. There's a radioactive snake. It grabbed me immediately, so I couldn't tell if they'd nerfed it or not. And of course, my submail had returned. So there you get to see me doing a submail thing. I alternate between the one with 2 stars and the one with 1 star. Yeah. Well, not completely alternate. I alternate unless the previous one got both an item and stats, and then he's on a roll. I have them compete with each other. It's fun. It's a Drake. Decided to go around that one. At this point, I was just like, yeah, it's best just to charge. Although here, kick worked fine, so... Again, I cannot say I fully understand the battle mechanics. I just know a few strategies that are fairly consistent. It really doesn't seem like it's gotten that much easier. Ah, you can get a scar from these. And then we're wrapping up about now. There's Gonna be a few more fights. I just went out the rest of my 30-minute timer and then stopped. But you know, I'm actually losing meteorite shards, so it's no longer broken. And of course, they have not changed. They changed the thing that seems to do less. The thing that I didn't dislike. Stunning is not fun. Being stunned is not fun. I mean, stunning the opponent, that's good, but getting stunned, that's not good.